resurrected when he was precisely 35 years old. But today the world celebrates Jesus' birthday on a holiday dedicated to the annual rebirth of the sun, December 25th. Now we bring in an evergreen tree into our home and call it a Christmas tree because an evergreen tree does not die during the time the sun goes south during the winter to die. It lives while the sun god dies. We place round balls on our tree because the sun is round and we're bringing light into our house. And we put candles or lights on the tree now as a way of bringing light into the house while the sun god is dying. So Christmas is a pagan holiday. I, for one, do not celebrate Christmas on December 25th. I personally celebrate the birth of Jesus every day of my life. Now I'd like to return to our discussion of the sun. So the next step in history of our past is when priests developed around the worship of the sun. They told the people that they should pray to them because there was a danger that the sun would not return the next day or after it died twice each year. And inside that worship of the sun god, they developed the idea that the sun was a symbol of another god. So man has deified the sun. We put a face on the sun. The sun has no face. It is not a god. It is the sun. And that sun, by the way, will one day burn itself out. Albert Pike wrote about this in his book entitled Legenda. The sages of all the ancient races had a secret and holy doctrine which was not made known to the people at large. When these worshipped the star, the sages adored that which manifested itself as the star. When these worshipped the fire and light, the sages worshipped the invisible principle from which the light flowed out. The next thing that happened was that this religion of the sun god spread all over the world. All religions today worship a god, but all of them differ in their conception of that god. But I think that they all agree on one thing. All religions agree on a force of evil. But most of these religions do not believe that this force of evil is a god. So it can be a true statement that the one thing that most religions can agree on is a belief in a force of evil. This is a book entitled The History and the Idea of the Devil by Paul Karras. In the introduction to this book, the writer says, Mr. Karras probed the myths and religious symbols of a number of cultures to siphon out the one common element, the devil. A reviewer of Mr. Karras' book made this comment about the author. Karras found the devil to be a perfectly charming fellow. All religions have a common denominator, the devil. But some of those religions have made this force of evil into a god, and that this worship of this force of evil as a god has been kept from the worshippers. Someone else who made just such an observation was Helena Petrovna Blavatsky in her book entitled The Secret Doctrine, Volume 1. In every religion we find the concealed deity forming the groundwork. So the concealed worship of another god inside the public worship of a god is common to all religions, as we shall see. Also the sun and also the serpent are symbols of this concealed worship of this other god. For example, Mr. Karras talks about this concealed worship on page 121 of his book. He makes this observation. In some parts of India, the serpent is the symbol of perfection and wisdom. That sounds like the teaching of the book of Genesis, yet India is not known as a Christian or Jewish nation. And the Masons acknowledge that Masonry is also found in all religions. In his book entitled Freemasonry and the Ancient Gods, the author, also a Mason, wrote this. Brother Ward, and Mr. Ward is a Masonic writer that this author quotes in his book, traces a substratum of Masonry in all the great religious systems of the world. So the God being worshipped by the Masons is also the God being worshipped in all of the hidden concealed worships all over the world. And all religions, including the religion known as Masonry, knows just who this hidden God is in their worship. One explained it quite simply. This is once again the book written by a female witch, and she stated it very simply on page 14 of her book. She wrote, Lucifer is the god of the sun. This is the simplest way to say it. The concealed god in the worships of the world is simply called Lucifer, also called the devil or Satan in the Bible. So what we are going to examine during this lecture is this worship of the sun god Lucifer and his plans for the future of the world with this thing that the major world leaders are calling for, called the New World Order. So we're going to examine this secret, hidden, 6,000-year-old worldwide worship of the sun god Lucifer and his plans for a new world order. I am not aware of any other historian in the world who is exposing this secret worship of Lucifer, but it needs to be done. Because quite simply, this future Luciferian New World Order is not very pleasant. The people of the world would not accept it unless it was being brought to them through deceptions and lies. And this is exactly what is happening. The New World Order is being brought to the people of the world through lies, deceptions, and dishonesty. The leaders of the world are simply not telling the truth. This is the Masonic symbol that we've looked at before. Notice the square and the compass have the letter G in the center. I'd like to show you that the Masons also worship the sun. W.L. Wilmshurst, a Masonic writer, wrote this: "The G had its equivalent in the Egyptian mysteries in the solar symbol of Ra, the spiritual sun." In an article that appeared in the Masonic New Age magazine, July 1985, the author said, "In ancient symbolism, the square signified the earth, while the circle, a figure produced with the compasses, signified the sun or the heavens. Remember that the circle is a symbol of the sun, and that the Masons proudly display a compass, an object that can produce a circle, in their symbol." Another Masonic magazine, called the Royal Arch Mason, added this comment: "In the Egyptian mythology, the circle was a hieroglyphic symbol, or sign rather, or emblem of the sun god Ra." Now this is a slide of a gold head of the Egyptian sun god Ra. It consists of a ram with the sun disk on its head and two cobras around its temple. Cobra, of course, is a snake. So sun worship is not new. It has been here for centuries, as we shall see, and it is worldwide. I want to make a point at this juncture. What I will be examining during this lecture is that I have found a secret concealed worship of a god in the world. I have found that this secret worship has been conducted worldwide for some 6,000 years. I have found that the knowledge about this worship has been buried by historians of the past, and I have found that the major symbols of this concealed god are the sun and the serpent. I have found that the worship of every major god of the past, including even the God of the Bible, in part, has concealed a secret worship of the hidden God. And that means that for 6,000 years, man has been worshiping a hidden God right in front of the world, and the world has not taken notice of it. And that statement is probably the single most important historic truth in the world, probably second only to the simple historic truth that Jesus Christ was born in Bethlehem 2,000 years ago. Because the fact that this concealed worship has been kept secret from mankind for centuries has directly affected every aspect of our lives. Briefly stated once again, the God worship for 6,000 years behind the symbolism of the sun and the serpent is Lucifer, also called Satan or the devil in the Bible. What we are going to examine in the remainder of this lecture is this worship of the sun god Lucifer and his plans for the future with this thing that the major world leaders are calling for, called the New World Order. It shall be my intent to expose you to the secret, hidden, 6,000-year-old worldwide worship of Lucifer and his plans for a new world order. Let me continue our study of the worship of the sun god Lucifer on this earth. This is a picture taken from a Life magazine of a couple years ago, and this is a picture of a Mayan temple at Chichen Itza. And the article quotes a Mayan prayer to the sun. "You are God, our Father, our Master in the sky. Sun, sun, you shed your light on us." The sun is the symbol of another God, and the light is the truth that God teaches us. Another Mason, Wilfred Gregson, wrote this about the serpents built into the monuments at Chichen Itza. "One symbol of great prominence throughout all ancient civilizations is the snake or serpent, where it symbolized divine wisdom. So the next symbol we must study is the snake or serpent. This is a real snake, of course, and in the Bible, Lucifer appeared to man as a snake. But ever since, man has been worshiping the snake as a god. Snake worship is universal and timeless. This is a book entitled Serpent in the Sky, and its cover shows a piece of Egyptian artwork in gold. On the piece of gold, we see a man being carried to the heavens by a serpent. The green arrow points to the hieroglyphic symbol of a man seated on the back of the serpent. And in this picture, the green arrow points to the head of the snake flying the man's to the heavens. And lastly, these are the stars the snake is taking the man to in the heavens. So the lesson is that man can get to heaven, meaning he can reach God on the back of a snake. This is an article that proclaims that Hopi Indian leaders prefer that the American government not build a particular project because it will disturb the ground where many snakes live. There are many who believe that the Hopi Indians are the most spiritual of all the Indian tribes. The article quotes a Hopi tribal leader as saying, "We use snakes for our prayers. They are our messengers. These snakes, are our brothers. They are closer to the earth." So the snake takes a message to the god of the Hopis. Snake worship is universal and timeless. This is a drawing of a coin from the city of Tyre. Tyre was the capital of Phoenicia and was founded in around 2750 BC. So this coin might be several thousand years old. The drawing shows a snake cut off from its home. The tree has been cut down before its time, meaning that the snake is trying to restore his home by exerting its pressure on the tree stump. His kingdom was cut away before he could complete his task, and he is exerting pressure on the tree, hoping that it will return to the form of his old kingdom. The cornucopia to the left of the tree is empty. That means that the bounty is to be received from his kingdom, his future, when the snake revives the palm tree back to its previous glory. The palm tree to the right is a sign of victory, that the snake's victory on the earth will occur. In other words, the snake will succeed in bringing his paradise to the earth, and that paradise is called the New World Order. This is a drawing of the Aztec sun calendar on the cover of a book published by Reader's Digest. This picture shows the calendar in its entirety. The face in the center is a symbol of the sun god and, of course, is a circle. And this is the same calendar cut away to reveal the existence of two enormous snakes around the circle. The heads of the snake on either side are on either side of where 6 o'clock would be, and their tails are at the top of the circle. And the next slide is a more recent example of the snake as some sort of symbol. This is the hood ornament off of the Alfa Romeo automobile. Notice that there is a line dividing the ornament into two separate different symbols, the snake or the cross. The hood ornament appears to be saying that there is a choice in the world, either the cross of Jesus or the snake of the unknown God. The snake also has a crown drawn above its head, as if the snake is either a god or a king. The snake appears to have a man in its mouth, and I do not know if the snake is devouring the man or if he is giving birth to the man. My guess would be that the snake is giving birth to the enlightened man. In other words, the man who has figured out who the snake represents. I didn't think I was right until I found this book entitled Magic Symbols. And this is part of page number 6 of that book. It shows a very dark picture of the snake and the man, reportedly taken from a 13th century building in Italy. Now you can't see that very well, maybe you can see the one on the right, but there's the snake devouring the man or passing him out, and you'll see it in the black outline in the first picture on the left. And this is a picture of the figures of the snake and the man being colored in to show you what they look like. The author of the book claims that the snake is devouring the man, but it appears to work as well as a symbol of the serpent giving birth to the illumined man. The book went on to say, the image of a man being swallowed by the serpent of wisdom is really a portrayal of the man entering into the body of the snake entering into wisdom. So then the book identified who the snake of wisdom was. Such a snake itself is therefore a symbol of Satan. So here we see a book briefly explaining